monsters and aliens and all these trappings of normal sci-fi to be dangerous. I mean, if you look at what happened to those two space shuttles, between Columbia and Challenger, I mean, it's something, a leak, just a hole, a small hole. These are the kinds of things. It's incredibly dangerous to travel into space. It's an environment that we're not meant to exist in, and we don't exist there easily. So I thought, why not make the ultimate bad guy, the ultimate danger, instead of it being some monster alien? Why not have it be space itself, or the challenge of flying in space? So So where I'm going with that is that has surprised people. I think that's been a surprise. I think people have also been surprised by the amount that they learned from it, because there's literally some sort of science, engineering, environmental, biological aspect to almost every page of this book. Now it's hidden. We call it a Trojan horse.
Sure.
My writing partner and myself are both involved in education pretty heavily. He actually used to be a high school physics and art teacher, and he
give a shout out to his name.
Oh, Frederick Haugen. Yeah. But he used to be a high school teacher for 4 years, and he we both just take it really seriously to create a means to get kids thinking and talking about these ideas, And I'm not saying I want them to necessarily become engineers or scientists, but hey, if something like this does lead them down that path, then great. I mean, if anything, we hope it just opens their eyes to the greater possibilities that are out there.
Yeah. And so, have you seen that inspiration?
I have actually. I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to work with a group of sixth graders at Fair School in Crystal, Minnesota, and we worked on. We went through the entire book. They kind of did it as readers' theater. It's formatted as a screenplay, so they were able to actually act out the characters and do the whole thing. And one of the most wonderful moments, the engineer who I was telling you about in the story, Nina, the main character. There was a little African-American girl. One of the first days we were working on the story, and she pulled her teacher over and she said, "Hey, you got to see this." And she pointed at the character and said, "That's me. I want to be her."
Wow.
And to me, that was one of those spine-tingling moments. That's like, okay, that's why we're doing this. That's what this is about, And you can sit there and Luke Skywalker's really cool and everything, but that it's kind of hard for
demographics seem to play in a shift towards Nina rather than
exactly, and that's what the future's about too, is to say it's for everybody, and everybody has a mind, everybody has that creativity and potential, so we want to point it in different directions as well.
So what cultures or kinds of individuals are included in your book?
One of the major aspects of the story that the Chinese are involved, because I mean, right now, literally, the Chinese are very seriously pursuing a space program, and their goal is to be on the moon by 2020 or so. They're actually planning to have bases up there. And if you were to talk to, I had the privilege of working with some graduate students a couple of years ago, and some of them had done some tours and some work with people in China with regarding the space program and just everyday people. And you literally, in small villages, you'd have kids in a small village talking about how someday their country's going to be up in space, and how they themselves are going to be up in space. This is something that's a cultural thing. And I don't think it's really known in America that this is something that, and it's really sad because in America we're actually losing our interest in things like space. I mean, it's the current administration, they just shut down the moon program that was going to be happening. So it's we literally, it's kind of like, where are we going? We don't really know, and so we thought making the Chinese a major player in this. We also have India as a player in this. These are all realistic possibilities. I mean, these are countries that are taking space exploration very seriously. Japan's another country. The Japanese aren't heavily involved in the story. There is a Japanese character, but China is a major player in the story. So which is and I've had a lot of positive response. Anybody who knows that, they're like, "Wow, you guys put China in there," so it's just pretty cool. So,
that's really great. So, where do you see Slingshot going then in the next 10 years?
Well, gosh, 10 years.
That's long.
10 years.
All right,
wow.
let's say 3.
Well, no, it's funny. No, it's funny. It's funny. No, it's funny
So.
when you say that, because it's like I try to look at this in both the short term and the long. When we created this project, we intentionally said to ourselves, we want this. We see this sort of there's a big two in sci-fi. There's kind of Star Trek and Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars being the first, Star Trek kind of being right behind it. And then we thought, how do we get we want to be number 3, you know. So you've got Star Trek, Star Wars, we want to be Slingshot, you know.
Yeah.
So it's even got the same kind of sound to it in a lot of ways, you know. But we said, you know, we want to be a big franchise. So I'm hoping that, you know, there'll be like remakes of it, you know, 30 years from now or something. But in the near term, we're going to be on Borders, BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com, all that's going to be.
And your website is?
Our website is slingshot2100.com. So, but we're making sure the book is available. We're in the process of developing an extensive curriculum for the use of this book in schools because we've had that successful trial.
Sure.
We're also in the development of some motion comics. We're going to do a 6-issue comic book series based upon this. And then from that work that we do for that, we're actually developing an animated feature film. So, and that film will be produced here in the Twin Cities. So,
Yay.
yeah, so that's something that we're hoping that film will be, you know, coming together within the next 2 years.
Wow, that's actually quite a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. And then after that, there's 2 more stories. We don't really have a big plan for more, you know, but we certainly see a trilogy that we'd like to do. There's sort of a, you know, the initial start, and then you got to have the dark middle story, and then you have to have the wrap up. So we've got some plans for those too.
Wonderful,
so,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we've kept our viewers waiting a little bit. We're going to show a trailer for Slingshot, which is also available on your website, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep. And this is a motion graphic trailer. It's specifically using the artwork from the book. It's not the trailer for the film or anything, but it's a trailer for the book itself. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go to that for a moment. What a wonderful, powerful trailer. That is amazing.
Thank you very much.
And
Thanks.
the work is amazing. The graphic design, the visual effects.
Thank you.
Kudos.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the St. Paul Forum. Thank you for watching us today with Jeffery Morris, visual futurist, author, co-author of Slingshot, and writer. And we hope you'll join us next time on the St. Paul Forum.